So I'm looking forward to this matchup between the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Dallas Mavericks, the number 7 seed. And a lot of people are going to be surprised, but I think that the Dallas Mavericks are a dark horse team and could potentially knock off they have Luka Doncic and they have Kristaps Porzingis. They have Seth Curry. They have Darrell Wright. They have Tim Hardaway Jr., JJ Barea. They have a lot of guys on that team that could do some damage against the Clippers, despite them having, I would say, elite starting five, because Patrick Beverley, he can be, I guess, quote unquote, a nuisance to other opposing guards because of how intense he takes every single possession. He's a good defender. He can make big shots. He can make blocks. They have Paul George after he was traded from the Thunder. Paul George is a special talent. Obviously, when he was on the Pacers, like the first 3 seasons, it consistently conference. He's been Oklahoma City. He's been getting out of the first round, and it's interesting to see how well he plays. But him and Kawhi have been playing good. It's just a matter of what PG we're going to be getting in this series. But I think Dallas could go punch for punch with the Clippers, and I think that it's going to go 7 games. And I picked the Clippers to win, but I would not be surprised if Dallas could win in a 7-game series. So I think that I'm picking the Clippers to win ultimately, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas wins in 7 games. So I'm definitely picking 7 games in the Clippers, but I don't be surprised. This is on recording, so I think Dallas could potentially win this series.
You said it, man. But okay, so here's where I look at this from. Luka, don't get me wrong, he is exceptional already. Like in his second year, the things that this kid is doing, like I think he just turned 21 like a few days ago or a month ago, whatever. But he's younger than me, all right? I'm 25, he's 21, and the stuff he's doing right now is insane. That being said, in Porzingis, this was definitely a season that he needed. This was, everybody knew he had the potential, being drafted by the Knicks. I'm sure the Knicks still wish they had him, but that's a different conversation. But this season was big for Kristaps Porzingis, to show that, as he got himself back healthy, what he was still capable of doing. So he definitely needed this year, as kind of like a year to show, that he still has a place, in the league. He's a good player, but this was a bounce back year for him. But when I look at, Kawhi and Paul George, not just on the offensive end, but defensively as well. Like these guys are, two of the top defensive, wings at their positions. That's the defensive end is where they made their living, and then over time they got better offensively.
Right.
But you said that you could see it going 7. I have it at 4 games to 2. I see it going 6. And what will be big for the Clippers, and I'm sure they picked up on this too, because for a long time, Lou Will wasn't in the bubble. Lou Williams was in the bubble, and then, they slowly brought him back into it. And Montrezl Harrell, that's a player I'm keeping an eye on. It's easy to talk about, Kawhi and Paul George. We know what they can do, but Montrez is very big for them with that second unit along with Lou Williams. And when Montrez and Lou are on one accord in that second unit, those guys can be just as good as the first string that they put out there. So I'm his health. I'm definitely interested to see what Montrez is looking like health-wise throughout this first round playoff series, because there's going to be times when he's out there defending Porzingis, and if he's not 100% to do it, I wouldn't be surprised if Porzingis has some of those games that could help Dallas win, not win, but have a definite fighting chance. And, you named some of the other guys on Dallas's, bench and some guys that they start. Those guys are going to have to be big too. Seth Curry, Tim Hardaway Jr., those guys. And, the Clippers, they're not a big team. I think Zubac, I know how to pronounce his name. I'm just struggling with it right now. I think it's Zubac.
It's
But
all good.
I think he's their biggest guy. I think he's like their only 7-footer that they can put out there. I mean, they have Joakim Noah, but what I would do if I was Dallas, and I know this doesn't sound like something you would probably ever say seriously, but stay with me on this one. If I was Dallas, I would consider starting Boban Marjanovic.
I was just about to say, you almost forgot about Boban. He's a big
Oh,
dude. He could
can't
defend and shoot.
I know Boban, he's a joking guy. He likes to, have his fun and, all that. But don't forget the fact that, he is 7'3". He's a very tall,
Mm-hmm.
long dude. And he couldn't give the Dallas Mavericks good minutes and give the Clippers a lot of trouble. So if I was, if I was their coach, Rick Carlisle, I would just to, even if it throws the Clippers off, I would
Mm-hmm.
start a lineup with Porzingis as my power forward and Boban as my center, and just see what happens. See how the Clippers defend it for like a game. If it works, maybe do it a second time. But I would definitely, play with that because, I mean, it's not something that anybody would think about, but like you were saying with Boston and Taco, even if it just throws the other team off because they're not expecting you to do something like that.
Right.
See what happens. I mean, with their height and size, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Right.
I mean, they're gonna
I
give
feel
you
you.
something. And sometimes when Dallas is a talented team, but sometimes when you're not the most talented team in the series, you need something to throw the other team off their game a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that would be definitely something interesting, and I think the fans would like it as well. I know I would if I saw it. So just Rick Carlisle, if you look on your bench and you see Boban, might be something to think about.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely something to think about. And I don't know, like I feel like this is it's gonna be interesting to see. The Mavericks haven't been in the playoffs for a while. This would be Luka and Kristaps' first playoffs together. So it's gonna be interesting to see. We're used to seeing Luka be clutch in the regular season and make these ridiculous shots. And Kristaps, obviously, he was with the Knicks for a while, so he didn't get to experience the playoffs. But now he's going to be in his first playoff series. And I do agree that Kawhi and Paul George are amazing defensively. But don't forget, last year, Damian Lillard sent him home because of that three-pointer. And who another person that could do that and has made crazy shots in his short career so far? Luka Doncic. He can make those shots. He can make a team pay. He could take the game right away from you after you played an amazing game. He could just do his Luka magic. So I'm very excited and very interested to see this matchup. And this is only the first round, so it's going to be interesting to see later down the line. Obviously, once these series are done, we're going to tally up our scores and see who was closer to what prediction. But JJ, I'm looking forward to the series, and I'm very excited to see what happens. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, it's a different atmosphere because of the coronavirus, and we're in the bubble, and we're not be able to see the fans react. We can see the virtual fans react, but we're not going to see that same playoff intensity that we're used to. But it's going to be like sandpaper with these teams. A lot of teams are going to run against each other. It's going to be very competitive. That I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it. My bad, I had to burp. But it's exciting. The playoffs are back. We weren't sure if they were gonna be back, but they're here, JJ, and we're here to witness it. So I'm looking forward to watching these with you and to see who ends up having the bigger tally in predictions and who can I guess you could say predict the future in basketball terms. So I'm looking forward to seeing who has that power between the two of us.
Interested to find out how that goes. Very interested. I'm just glad the playoffs are back, man. It's my favorite time of, the NBA season. I enjoy watching these games. Some people don't understand how, I could sit there and watch them all. And it's just because, you never know what's going to happen. And the surprises are what I live for. So I'm sure, there will definitely be, some surprises in there along the way. And I just, can't wait.